All right, so today we're diving deep into PixelMuse. It's this AI art platform that's been making some serious noise online. And, we had to check it out.
Yeah, I've been seeing it everywhere too. It seems like everyone's talking about it.
And for good reason. It's pretty mind-blowing, to be honest.
Yeah.
But for those who haven't heard of it yet, could you give us a quick rundown of what PixelMuse actually is?
Well, at its core, it's a platform that uses artificial intelligence to create and manipulate visual art. So think, generating images from scratch or taking an existing image and transforming it in ways that, well, before would have required some serious artistic skill.
Right, so it's kind of like putting the power of a whole art studio into anyone's hands.
Exactly. That's what's got everyone so excited. It's really democratizing art creation, making it accessible to everyone.
I mean, I'm no artist.
Yeah.
But even I'm itching to try this thing out. So how does it actually work? Like, what's the process?
Okay, so imagine this. You upload a photo, let's say a picture you took on your phone, and you decide, you know what, I want this to look like a Van Gogh painting.
Like with the swirling brushstrokes and everything.
Yep, exactly. And PixelMuse use something called style transfer to analyze Van Gogh's style and then applies it to your photo, transforming it into this, masterpiece.
Whoa, that's amazing. So I can literally turn any photo into a work of art by a famous painter.
That's the idea. Pretty cool, right?
That is very cool.
Have
You said
fun.
there are other ways to use it too.
Yeah, so style transfer is just one mode. There's also art from scratch.
Oh, what's that like?
Well, for that, you start with a blank canvas,
Yeah.
and then you type in a description of what you want to create.
So I could type, like a cat riding a unicorn through a rainbow galaxy.
Exactly. And PixelMuse will take those words and use them to generate an image that matches your description.
No way.
It's wild, right?
It really is. And what about editing existing pictures? Can it do that too?
Oh, yeah. That's where image enhancement comes in.
Okay, tell me more.
So you upload an image and PixelMuse can enhance the colors or sharpen details or even suggest different compositions.
Huh. So it's kind of like having a personal art consultant at your fingertips.
Exactly. It can help you take your photos to the next level, even if you're not, a professional photographer.
Wow, this is really blowing my mind. So we've got style transfer, art from scratch, image enhancement. Are there any other modes?
Well, there's one more called art completion.
Oh, what's that?
So imagine you've started a drawing or a painting, but you're stuck. You upload it to PixelMuse, and it can help you complete it based on the existing parts and your instructions.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful stuff.
I'm already starting to see how this could be a game changer, not just for artists, but for anyone who wants to express themselves visually.
I totally agree. It's like this whole new world of creative possibilities is opening up.
And it makes you wonder, what's going to happen next? How will this impact the art world? And how will artists adapt and use this technology to create even more amazing things?
Yeah, those are some big questions and definitely some exciting ones to consider.
Well, we're going to dive into those questions next, so stick around. We're just getting started with this deep dive into PixelMuse.
I can't wait to see where this conversation takes us.
All right, so we've talked about all the amazing things PixelMuse can do, but I think it's time to address the elephant in the room, or the robot in the art studio, maybe.
That's actually a good analogy because one of the biggest concerns around AI art is this question of, originality.
Right, can something created by an algorithm be considered truly original?
Yeah, and it's a tough one because on one hand, PixelMuse is using these vast beta sets of existing art to create its images.
So some people might say it's just remixing, not really creating something new.
Right, and there's definitely a valid point there. But then again, you could argue that all artists are influenced by what they've seen before.
Yeah, no one creates in a vacuum, right?
Exactly. Even the greatest artists were inspired by the works of others.
So where's the line between inspiration and just straight up copying?
That's a question for the philosophers, I think. But I will say, with PixelMuse, there's still a human element involved.
What do you mean?
Well, the user is the one providing the prompts, making choices about style, composition. They're guiding the AI, so it's not like the machine is doing everything on its own.
So it's more of a collaboration.
I think that's a good way to look at it.
And it's interesting to think about how this might change the definition of what it means to be an artist.
Absolutely. It's challenging traditional notions of creativity and authorship.
Another concern I've heard is about artists becoming too reliant on AI tools.
Oh, yeah, that's a valid point. I mean, if it's so easy to create stunning visuals with PixelMuse, will people stop developing their own skills?
It's kind of like if you always use a calculator, you might forget how to do basic math.
Right, and the same could happen with art. But I think the key is to use AI as a tool, not a crutch.
Yeah, like a painter using a new type of brush.
Exactly. It's about expanding your creative possibilities, not replacing your own talent and effort.
I wonder how art schools will adapt to this technology.
Oh, that's a good question. I'm sure there will be a lot of debate about how to incorporate AI into the curriculum.
And then there's the legal side of things, like copyright issues.
Oh, yeah, that's a whole can of worms.
Because if PixelMuse can recreate any art style, how do you protect the original artists?
That's something the courts are going to have to figure out. And the laws might need to evolve to keep up with this technology.
It's definitely a complex issue.
Yeah.
But I guess at the end of the day, AI is here to stay.
Yes.
And like any new technology, it's going to have its pros and cons.
Right. It's up to us to figure out how to use it responsibly and ethically.
And who knows? Maybe this will lead to a whole new era of artistic expression.
I think that's definitely a possibility. And I, for one, am excited to see what the future holds.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here, from how PixelMuse actually works to the ethical and legal questions it raises. But now I'm kind of curious, what does all this mean for someone listening right now? Like, why should they care about AI art?
Well, I think it's important to realize that this isn't just some passing fad. AI is going to have a huge impact on the art world and on society as a whole.
Yeah, no, I'm getting that sense too, but like, how?
Well, for one thing, it's going to make creating art much more accessible.
So more people will be able to express themselves visually, even if they don't have, like, traditional art skills.
Exactly, and that could lead to a whole explosion of new and diverse artistic voices.
That's pretty cool to think about.
And it's not just about creating art, it's about experiencing it too.
Oh, how so?
Well, imagine being able to step inside a painting or interact with a sculpture in a virtual reality environment.
Whoa, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, and AI could make that possible.
So we're not just talking about changing how art is made, but also how it's consumed.
Exactly. It's a paradigm shift in how we interact with art.
And what about the artists themselves? How will they adapt to this new landscape?
Well, I think some artists will embrace AI as a tool to enhance their work.
Kind of like how photographers started using Photoshop?
Exactly. While others might focus on creating art that specifically explores the relationship between humans and AI.
So it's not necessarily about AI replacing artists, but rather creating new opportunities and new ways of thinking about art.
Exactly. It's about pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
I like that. So any final thoughts for our listeners?
I'd say don't be afraid to experiment with AI art tools. See what you can create. And don't be afraid to ask questions.
Yeah, like what does it mean to be an artist in the age of AI? What are the ethical implications of using this technology? Those are all really important questions.
They are, and ultimately it's up to all of us to figure out the answers.
Well, on that note, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
And we hope you learned something new about PixelMuse and the exciting and maybe a little scary future of art.
And who knows, maybe you'll even be inspired to create some AI art of your own.
That would be awesome. All right, that's it for today. Until next time, keep exploring and keep creating.
And keep those imaginations running wild.